Sports Stars Magazine here with King Riley-Owens from La Mirada. One of the best games that we saw in the entire Nike Tournament of Champions. Saguaro division, double overtime. You score all 15 points in the second half in the 2 extra periods to hold off a great Volcano Vista team from New Mexico, 72-69. Obviously, it shows that how much the group learned from the unfortunate circumstances of the stretch at Basha. King, how good does it feel that it was kind of like everything that Basha did to you guys yesterday, that you guys processed that and showed your character and your championship medal and and learned from that today to make that great run to force overtime today?
Well, it was great. Yesterday against Basha, I feel like in the second half we weren't tough enough. We didn't compete enough in the second half like we did in the first. And in this game today, they came out, they punched us in the mouth, and then we just responded great.
The fact that you guys just always seem to feel like, hey, as long as we have another possession, as long as there's time on the clock, like we'll keep chipping away, and then all of a sudden double digits becomes 5, and then it becomes what was the energy like, especially when Coach Randy was calling timeouts and whatnot, just your guys' belief that it's like, hey, as long as we get stops and as long as there's time on the clock, we can either win this thing in regulation or force OT.
Yeah, we just started taking one possession at a time. We just try to get the ball into our scorers' hands, Gene, Julien, even me sometimes, just try to get open looks as best as we can, and we just go from there every possession.
Most definitely. Ultimately, the deciding basket with 37 seconds, and then obviously a free throw for good measure at the end. Again, obviously, I know that you can get yours. Julien obviously has been huge for you guys the first 2 days. Gene can get his at any time. MJ can get his at any time. Castro can get his at any time. How much of a blessing is that? That it's not. I mean, yeah, there's times where, like in the opener, that Julien went on a heater when Gene went to the bench, and then obviously Gene kind of helped keep the ship afloat in the first half day. But the fact that any of you guys, even freaking Cole was a monster out there for you guys. Those huge baskets, like the fact that so many guys can get theirs and you're not relying on one player.
It's just great because I feel like teams have to play us honest. You can't really help because we have so many shooters. We have so many people that can just get theirs at attacking, shooting, dribble pull-ups, whatever. And so I just feel like that's great.
Most definitely. Just it's always a much more enjoyable, much more pleasant ride home.
Yeah.
when you get whether it was in regulation, triple overtime, like football games, like 8 overtimes or whatever. I mean, you guys would have gone all night if you had enough players. But just how good is this for the team, knowing the schedule that's coming up, obviously with league and some of the isolated showcase events that you have, like to be able to get this, to not walk out of here 1 and 2 and know that things are still going in the right direction.
I feel like it's great. I mean, it shows that we can compete no matter the circumstances, and we just continue to push ourselves, and we're going to continue to get better throughout the season, throughout league, and hopefully we can keep peaking towards playoffs.
Most definitely, especially in when you guys forced overtime. Again, you can only control being the best version of King Riley-Owens. La Mirada can only be the best version of itself. But could you sense that you guys had kind of shaken their confidence a little bit? Could you sense a different energy in them in the extra periods, at the fact that they probably should have felt like they could have or should have put you away in regulation, and like once they left the door just a silver open, you guys certainly kicked it down.
Well, we felt like that coming out from halftime. We felt like we had enough momentum. We had enough just players in general that can just go and get stops and get buckets, whatever we needed to win that game. And I feel like we did that going from the third quarter all the way to the double overtime.
Most definitely, man. Last thing, I really appreciate your honesty and your candor in saying that the group wasn't tough enough yesterday. It's there. Like, do you? I mean, because you guys had obviously played a super tough schedule and battled so many high quality teams. But was yesterday just a good reminder that it's like, hey, like it doesn't matter how deep we are. It doesn't matter that we have arguably the best sophomore in the country. And 6-7 guys that can score. Like, if we don't have heart and if we don't have grit and toughness, is that a lesson for the rest of the regular season?
Yeah,
ultimately, what you hope for the open playoffs?
It teaches us too. We got to learn to put away teams. Like, Basha is a great team, don't get me wrong, but in situations like that, we got to keep playing hard. We got to keep playing defense. We got to keep into our sets that work for us. And I feel like yesterday we kind of shied away from that, but today we showed that we can keep doing that, and we can keep getting better day by day. So.
Well, you certainly did. As the seconds ticked off, not only at the end of regulation, but first overtime and second overtime, the Matadors certainly validated and affirmed that all over again. King Riley-Owens, again, 15 all in the second half in the 2 overtime periods, including the deciding 3 points in that second overtime, 72-69, against a really high-quality Volcano Vista team that had not lost back-to-back games since 2021. King, congratulations. Stay healthy. Best of luck going forward.
Thank you. You too.